My name is Olivia Carter. I'm 27 years old. Until last Friday. I thought I was in a healthy relationship. Not perfect. Not some fairy tale romance. Just stable. Safe. The kind of relationship where you start imagining future apartments. Future holidays. Maybe even future children. I had been dating my boyfriend, Mason Reed, for 14 months, and I honestly believed we were building something real. That illusion shattered over margaritas. We were sitting at a crowded rooftop restaurant, with a few of Mason's female friends. The city lights reflected against the windows. Music hummed in the background, and everyone seemed relaxed. Mason had already finished 3 margaritas. His cheeks were flushed. His laugh was louder than usual. One of his friends, Brooke, started joking about rating people. I barely paid attention at first. Then Mason suddenly burst into laughter. "Oh my God," he said between laughs. "Like how I've been rating Olivia a 3 out of 10 in our group chat for months." The entire table froze. Every conversation around us seemed to disappear. I felt 8 pairs of eyes shift toward me. For a second, I thought I'd misheard him. Then I saw the horror spreading across his friends' faces. No, I heard correctly. I picked up my glass and took a slow sip. "Thanks for telling me." The smile vanished from Mason's face. Fast. His expression transformed from drunk amusement to pure panic. "Babe." I was joking. I tilted my head. Which part? The 3 out of 10 or the months? Nobody spoke. Brooke suddenly became fascinated by her napkin. Sophia was staring at the table. Another friend, Rachel, actually looked sick. "It's just guy talk," Mason said nervously. "We all do it." I looked around. Nobody defended him. Nobody agreed. That told me everything. I stood up. "Cool. I'm going home." His eyes widened. "Olivia, don't be dramatic." The word dramatic hit harder than the rating, because I knew exactly what it meant. It meant my humiliation was somehow less important than his discomfort. I quietly placed money on the table. Then, I walked away. Mason chased me outside. The night air felt cold against my skin. "You're seriously upset about this?" I laughed once. A short, humorless laugh. "You've been mocking me to your friends for months." "I wasn't mocking you." "Then explain it." He hesitated. That hesitation said more than any answer. I crossed my arms. "Mason, what exactly is this rating system based on? It's stupid. Tell me." He sighed heavily. "Income, looks, intimacy, social status, future potential." I stared at him. "And I'm a 3? The scale is harsh." I almost laughed again. The scale is harsh. Even celebrities don't score high. "So I'm less than half of your ideal person. You're twisting it." "No, I wasn't." For the first time, I realized something terrifying. He genuinely believed his explanation made things better. I pulled out my phone. "What are you doing?" "Breaking up with you." His face turned white. "What?" I opened Instagram. My fingers felt strangely steady. The post was simple. "Single again. Apparently, I've been a 3/10 girlfriend for months, according to my now ex-boyfriend's private rating system. Personally, I rate being single 10/10. I tagged him, then I hit post. His phone started vibrating almost immediately. The first notification appeared, then another, "Olivia." I looked at him, calmly. "Have a good night, Mason." Then, I left. I didn't cry during the drive home. I didn't scream. I didn't break anything. The tears didn't come until I was alone in my apartment, staring at the ceiling. Because humiliation hurts, but betrayal hurts more. The next morning, I woke up to hundreds of notifications. Message. Comment. Shares. But the most surprising messages came from Mason's own friends. Sophia wrote first. "Olivia, I'm so sorry. I always thought the ratings were cruel." Then Rachel. "You deserve better than this." Then Brooke. Even Brooke. "I know you probably hate me, but Mason took it way too far." My stomach tightened. Too far. What did that mean? Then Sophia sent screenshots, and my entire world shifted, because the ratings weren't just numbers. They were essays, Paragraphs. Detailed analyses of every flaw Mason believed I had. Olivia is sweet, but she'll never make serious money. I stared at the screen. I was a physical therapist. I worked hard. I helped people walk again after surgeries. I helped injured athletes recover. I helped elderly patients regain independence. Apparently, none of that mattered. Another message. The intimacy is boring. She's too predictable. My chest tightened. I had never once received a complaint from him. Not one conversation. Not one request. Nothing. Then another. She wears the same outfits constantly. Another. Her friends are boring. Another. Her father's illness makes everything about her. That one made me stop breathing. My father's cancer diagnosis had nearly broken me. There had been nights when I cried in Mason's arms. Nights when I trusted him completely. And he had turned those moments into entertainment. Then I saw the message that made me physically ill. A screenshot of one of our private conversations. A conversation about my anxiety. About my fear of losing my father. Below it, Mason had written, "Daddy issues alert." I dropped my phone. For several seconds, I simply sat there, staring at nothing, trying to understand how someone who kissed me every morning could write something so cruel. Then I noticed another name, Vanessa, a woman from his office. The same Vanessa he constantly insisted was just a friend. His ratings for her were completely different. 十分之9. Beautiful. Ambitious. Funny. The kind of woman who inspires you. I felt a chill run down my spine. Because suddenly, dozens of memories started rearranging themselves. The lunch meetings, the late work drinks, the constant mentions, the social media interactions, the way he smiled whenever her name appeared. Maybe the ratings weren't the real betrayal. Maybe they were only evidence of something bigger. And as I continued scrolling through the screenshots, I realized I had only uncovered the surface of the truth. I stared at Vanessa's name for a long time. 9 out of 10. Ambitious. Beautiful. Exciting. Everything I apparently wasn't. I wanted to believe it was just another cruel fantasy Mason had typed into that disgusting group chat. But the screenshots kept coming. Sophia sent more. Lunch again with Vanessa. Olivia thinks it's work. Yes. Another message. Vanessa understands ambition. Olivia understands stretching hamstrings. I read that one 3 times. Not because it hurt the most, because it sounded exactly like him. That polished, smug little cruelty he usually disguised as humor. I posted the screenshots to my story. Not all of them. Not the most private ones about my father. Those were mine. But enough. Enough for people to see the truth. My caption was simple. For everyone asking, why we broke up? This is who he was, when he thought I would never find out. Within minutes, my phone became impossible to use. Comments poured in. Message. Screenshots. People tagging Mason. People tagging Vanessa. Then, just before noon, I received a message from a man named Daniel Harper, Vanessa's boyfriend, or former boyfriend. As I later learned, he wrote, "I saw your post. Can we talk?" My hands went cold. I didn't know him. I only knew his face from Vanessa's photos. Clean cut, kind eyes, always standing slightly behind her, like someone who wanted to support her. Not outshine her, I replied carefully. What do you need to know? He sent me screenshots, dinner receipts, photos, messages Vanessa had claimed were from work emergencies. Apparently Mason and Vanessa had been having private lunches and after-work drinks for months. Not once. Not twice. Months. Danielle wrote. She told me, you were insecure and controlling. I believed her. I sat back in my chair. That was the moment I understood how deep the lie had gone. Mason hadn't only mocked me. He had prepared an image of me for other people. A jealous girlfriend. A boring girlfriend. A woman lucky to have him. By that afternoon, Daniel had ended things with Vanessa. He thanked me for exposing what he said he should have seen earlier. Mason, meanwhile, tried damage control. He posted a long statement about betrayal, about privacy, about how private conversations between friends should never be weaponized. He called my post emotionally abusive. He said I had destroyed his reputation over one drunken joke. For maybe 10 minutes. A few people believed him. Then Brooke started talking. Then Rachel. Then Sophia. Screenshots appeared everywhere. The group chat had not been a joke. It had existed for 2 years. And Olivia Carter was not the only woman who had been rated. Mason had rated his friends' partners too. He gave Rachel's boyfriend a 2, and wrote that she must have no standards. He gave Brooke's ex a 9, and said Brooke had fumbled someone better than she deserved. He called Sophia's fiancé painfully average, with dentist office energy. On a B1. His friends realized they had all been sitting near the fire, pretending only I was burning. Then the group exploded. Brooke turned on Mason. Rachel turned on Brooke. Sophia sent more screenshots. Vanessa locked her account. Daniel went quiet. And Mason's carefully polished social world collapsed in less than 48 hours. The strangest message came from Mason's older sister. Emily. Olivia. I'm sorry. I wish I could say I'm surprised. He did something similar to a girl in college. My parents are mortified. I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. By Monday, the consequences had reached his office. Mason worked in marketing at a medical software company. His professional Instagram had coworkers, clients, and managers on it. People had seen everything, especially the Vanessa posts, especially the comments about rating women and mocking partners. By Tuesday morning, he texted me from a new number. Please, I need to talk to you. I blocked it. Then another number, then an email, then, finally, on Thursday evening, he showed up at my apartment. When I opened the door, I almost didn't recognize him. His hair was messy. His eyes were swollen. The confident man who once smirked while calling me dramatic was standing in my hallway like a child who had broken something expensive. Can we talk? He asked. There's nothing to talk about. I lost my job. I stayed still. He swallowed. My manager said I showed poor judgment and created a hostile environment. You did. His face twisted. Because of your posts. No. Mason. Because of your behavior. He looked down. Vanessa won't talk to me. Daniel dumped her. My friends hate me. My parents are ashamed. Even Emily won't answer my calls. I said nothing. Then, he started crying. I'm sorry. The words should have meant something. They didn't. You're sorry you got caught. That's not fair. No. What wasn't fair was sharing messages about my father's cancer. His face changed. Just slightly. A flicker of annoyance beneath the tears. I didn't mean it like that. You wrote, Daddy issues alert. He rubbed his face. People say stupid things with friends. For 14 months, he looked up at me. I saw the mask slipping. You want me to beg forever? No. I want you to leave. His mouth tightened. Then, the sadness disappeared completely. And there he was. The real Mason. Cold. Angry. Entitled. You know what, fine? You want honesty. I gripped the edge of the door. He stepped closer. You were a 3. Maybe a 4 on good days. You're safe. Predictable. Boring. You dress like you gave up at 25. Your friends are dull. Your job is noble. Sûr. But it isn't impressive. And yes, I settled because I thought you'd be grateful. There it was. The truth. Not hidden in a group chat. Not softened by alcohol. Said directly to my face. For a second, it hurt so badly I couldn't breathe. Then something inside me went quiet. Completely quiet. Thank you. I said. He blinked. What? Thank you for finally saying it without pretending it was a joke. His expression cracked. I didn't mean that. Yes. You did. Olivia, no. My voice was calm. That scared him more than yelling would have. I would rather be a 3 with dignity than be loved by someone who needed to shrink me to feel tall. His jaw clenched. You'll never find anyone as good as me. For the first time since Friday night, I laughed. Not loudly. Not cruelly. Just enough. Mason. You lost your job? Your friends. And the woman you were trying to impress in the same week? His face went pale. I leaned closer. You are not the prize. Then I shut the door. He knocked once. Then again. Then my phone lit up. A message from Daniel. I'm sorry if this is strange. But thank you. You didn't just expose them. You helped me stop ignoring what I already knew. I stared at the message through tears I didn't realize had fallen. Outside my door, Mason finally stopped knocking. For the first time in 14 months, the silence felt peaceful. The strange thing about heartbreak is that the actual relationship can end in a single night, but the healing happens in tiny pieces afterward. A morning where you don't check their social media, an afternoon where you stop replaying old conversations, a week where their name doesn't immediately make your chest tighten. For a while, I focused on work. My patients needed me. People recovering from surgeries, athletes trying to get back on their feet, elderly patients learning to trust their bodies again. Helping them heal ended up helping me heal too. Life kept moving. And so did the internet. Unfortunately for Mason, the internet wasn't done with him. Someone turned the rating screenshots into a viral video. Millions of views. Thousands of comments. People couldn't believe someone would spend months grading his own girlfriend while acting like the perfect boyfriend in public. The jokes spread everywhere. People started calling terrible behavior 3 out of 10 energy. Memes appeared daily. Even strangers who had never heard of Mason before were discussing the story. He deleted every social media account he had. It didn't help. The screenshots had already escaped. Meanwhile, his old friend group completely disintegrated. Brooke moved to another city after the endless arguments. Rachel started seeing a therapist because she realized how much toxicity she had normalized. Sophia and I stayed in touch occasionally. She admitted the entire scandal had forced her to reevaluate the way she treated people. I kept telling myself it was harmless. She confessed during one phone call. It wasn't. No. I agreed. It wasn't. Then, something unexpected happened. Daniel and I met for coffee. Just coffee. Nothing romantic. At least that was the plan. We spent 2 hours talking. About trust. About embarrassment. About all the warning signs we'd ignored. About how strange it felt to become connected through someone else's betrayal. Then coffee became dinner a few weeks later. Dinner became regular conversations. Regular conversations became something neither of us wanted to name too quickly. One night, he looked at me across a restaurant table and smiled. You know what's funny? What? Mason thought you were boring. I laughed. Apparently. Daniel shook his head. I don't think I've ever met anyone less boring. I felt my cheeks warm. Not because it was a compliment. Because it felt sincere. There was no audience. No performance. No hidden agenda. Just honesty. Something I hadn't realized I missed. Months passed. One afternoon, I received a call that surprised me more than anything else in the entire situation. Mason's mother, Linda Reed. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Olivia. Her voice sounded nervous. Hi. Mrs. Reed. The woman nearly started crying. I'm so sorry. I closed my eyes. You don't have to apologize for him. I know, but I want to. There was a pause. Then she said something that nearly broke my heart. I saw what he wrote about your father. I swallowed hard. He's doing better now. Thank God. Her voice cracked. Please tell him we're praying for him. I will. And Olivia. Yes. You were always good to our son. I couldn't speak. She continued. My husband and I used to tell him that if he was smart, he'd never let you go. Tears filled my eyes. Not because I missed Mason. I didn't, but because after months of being told I wasn't enough, hearing kindness felt overwhelming. Before hanging up, she quietly added, You deserved better than what happened. For the first time, I truly believed it. About 6 months later, an email appeared in my inbox. From Mason. I had blocked every other method of contact. The email was long, very long. Pages of text. He wrote about therapy. About insecurity. About constantly needing to feel superior to other people. About how rating women had made him feel powerful when he secretly felt inadequate. He admitted he had been intimidated by my stability, my loyalty, my confidence. He admitted he had been terrified that one day I would realize I deserved better than him. So he convinced himself I wasn't valuable. That way, if the relationship failed, he could pretend it was my fault. I read the entire thing, twice, and surprisingly, I believed some of it. Not all, but some, for the first time. The message felt honest. I replied with a single paragraph. I'm glad you're getting help. I genuinely hope therapy helps you become a better person. I wish you well. But, please, don't contact me again. He never responded, and he never contacted me again. A year after that awful night at the rooftop bar, my life looked completely different. Daniel and I officially became a couple. Slowly, carefully, without games, without ratings, without pretending. One day he surprised me with a coffee mug. Printed across the front were the words, Kolme, Kymmenen Queen. I laughed so hard, I nearly dropped it. My friends eventually threw a ridiculous themed party. Everyone intentionally wore terrible outfits. We played board games, ordered cheap pizza, and spent the entire night making jokes about rating random objects. At one point, someone held up a potato chip and announced it was a 3 out of 10 because it lacked ambition. I laughed until my stomach hurt. Work got better too. I received a promotion, the same career Mason had mocked, the same profession he had called unimpressive. Apparently, my employer valued me a lot more than he ever had. The biggest change, though, happened inside me. Before all this, I genuinely believed I was lucky to have Mason. I thought I should be grateful he chose me. I thought love meant constantly proving my worth. Finding those screenshots was devastating, but it was also freeing, because nothing about me changed afterward. I earned the same salary, had the same friends, wore the same clothes, loved the same board games, cared for the same patients. The only thing that changed was my understanding of my own value. I finally realized that someone's opinion of you isn't the same thing as your worth, especially when that person benefits from making you feel small. Today, my father is in remission. Daniel is asleep on the couch beside me as I tell this story. The ridiculous mug is sitting in my kitchen. Life is peaceful. Not perfect, but real. And if there's one thing this entire experience taught me, it's that respect matters more than attraction, status, money, or anyone's arbitrary rating system. Because the right person doesn't sit in a group chat deciding your value. The right person reminds you that you already have it. As for Mason, I genuinely hope he continues therapy. I hope he becomes better. I hope he learns how to see people as human beings instead of numbers. Most of all, I hope he learns to see himself that way too. Because I suspect that's where all of this really started. But that's his journey now. Not mine. Mine started the moment I stopped believing I was a 3 out of 10, and started believing what the people who truly loved me had been saying all along. That I was enough,